Hey, good morning, everybody. Ernie here, worship pastor at the Gathering, with your daily encouragement on a beautiful Saturday morning. And today we're talking about 1 Corinthians 13, the love chapter again. This one has been sprinkled throughout our Summer of Love series that we're doing, and it's fitting being the love chapter. And this morning, what I'm going to talk about that chapter is Paul's letter to the Corinthians is addressing something that's going on in that church where the people started comparing themselves with each other, right? Always a losing battle when we start comparing, right? Well, they started comparing each other and started asking, which one of God's gifts is the greatest gift? Is it the gift of preaching and teaching? Is it the gift of giving, the gift of faith and a spiritual understanding, the gift of prayer? So they started comparing themselves to one another of who has the greatest gift. And so this started going on in the church, and Paul wrote a letter to them saying, hey, God has blessed all of you with a gift. Every one of you has a gift from God, maybe even multiple gifts, but they were given to you to bring you together, not to divide you guys. Right? And so what he speaks into about the gifts, he never says which gift is the greatest of the list that they're asking. He adds one on top of all the gifts to blanket them all. And he says the gift of love is the greatest, because all these gifts that you're comparing, if you remove love from it, the gift becomes nothing more than self-serving, self-focused, ego-driven motivation, right? So he says, when you talk about the gift of preaching or teaching, someone who's charismatic and is talking in the church, if they're speaking with love in their heart, well, they're sharing the word of God, and people are listening. People will stop and they will listen. They'll open their ears. But if they're doing this gift, if they're sharing the word and they're talking and teaching and preaching, but they don't do it in love, well, they're nothing more than a clanging cymbal. They're just making noise. Same with the gift of spiritual understanding and prayer and people with the faith to move mountains, right? When these people are exercising their gift and miracles of God are happening and people can witness it, well, it's a beautiful thing. And you can see the miracles of God happening all around. But if they're doing it without love, Paul says it's nothing more than a cheap magic trick. And then the third one, about giving, the gift of giving, Paul says in love, when you give in love, you're showing everybody God's grace and God's mercy and God's provision. But when you give and you don't have love, it's not, the motivation isn't from a loving place. It's nothing more than an act to say, hey, look at me, look how great I am because I'm giving. So Paul says without love, none of it matters. Love is the greatest gift of all of these, and it needs to blanket every gift. So what I want to say to you all this morning, and to myself, is to be careful when we get caught up in comparing, right? To compare ourselves to other people, it's always going to be a losing battle, because if you take an apple and you take an orange and you compare them, you just can't compare. They're two different things. They're both great in their own way. They both serve a purpose to give us nutrition. They both taste good, but they're so different. And God has created us all to be so different. And all together, we make up all the parts of the body. So, whatever your gift is, exercise it in love. That is my encouragement to you this morning. Have a great day, great weekend. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at the Sunday morning service. All right, God bless you.